Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the Fantasy Alarm live feed. It is preseason week 3. You guys, this is when the action is really happening. I'm pretty excited. I know I kind of went crazy there. Hi, Howard. How are you?
Hello, Brandon. How are you?
I'm good. I missed you.
I tried sneaking a vacation. It didn't happen. What are you going to do? Things just go on from here. It's like the craziest time of the year right now, too. It's like I got a draft every single day going on right now. I've got so much happening here.
It's a little overwhelming, I'm not going to lie. But you know what? We're really excited to be here for you guys because you guys are who we care about. So let us know if you have questions. You can tweet us. You can go to Facebook Live. You can be on YouTube. You can be on our website. You can pretty much be anywhere and talk to us right now. And we're going to be able to see those questions. So we are super excited to get to all of them. We're also going to get through the news that we have going on because it is the third week of the preseason. This is when we are starting to make decisions here. They're making cuts. Real things are happening. Todd Gurley is not going to play this preseason. Howard, just to start it off, real concerned, right?
Yeah. Super concerned because that's really what I want in my number one overall draft choice is for him to play in a meaningless preseason game and get hurt.
I would love for the David Johnson situation to stop too, because I think I've seen enough of him, you guys. In case you were wondering, David Johnson, still good at football, #analysis. He's been killing it this preseason. Let's stop. Shut it down, okay? We got it.
Especially because we're sitting here trying to break in a new center. Like AQ Shipley got hurt weeks and weeks ago. Okay, well, all the more reason to keep your starting running back and the star of your team off the field there. Please,
for all that is holy. Gene Gregory says, hey, guys, Gene Gregory in the Dirty Laundry League. That is the husbands and wives league that our own Howard Bender set up. He honored me and my husband by having us be involved. Although Carson almost missed the start of the draft, and we got into a fight about the printing of the cheat sheet.
Let's get into this. Let's do this.
It kept going.
No. I was gonna hit you up. I even tweeted that we were gonna air some dirty laundry about our spouses here. So do me a favor, take me through your time spent with Carson yesterday in prepping for this draft, and then I'll go you with my story of getting my wife ready to go. Let's see, which jibe's better.
Well, I mean, it really just came down to, he's like, okay, great. Yeah, so the draft's tonight. I was like, yeah. He's like, great. So if you print me a cheat sheet, I'll see you when you get home from work. And I was like, oh, no, you print your own cheat sheet. And he was like, well, but you know where to find it. I said, uh-huh. I was like, we're in a league together. I'm not going to print your cheat sheet. And then he was like, what is the use of being married to you if you're not going to print me this cheat sheet? And I was like, what? He's like, there's no benefits. There's no benefits to being married to a fantasy analyst if you can't even print a cheat sheet. I was like, oh, is pushing print like the new high standard, the big bar of being a fantasy analyst is I can print things? You guys, these people are nuts. And you don't even know how our phone blows up. I mean, all y'all out there, we're here to answer your questions right now. But I get weird tweets in the middle of the night from people all the time being like, what do I do about Kareem Hunt this week? And so I'm just saying, I understand that he's a little frustrated. But then the guy couldn't even log into RT Sports. He gets there like not even 5 seconds, I think, before the draft starts. And every single pick, he waited until 2 seconds before the clock went out to pick.
Yeah, what was that? Now, the question is I was like, is he on an iPad or something where it's just he's having connectivity issues? He started getting trolled in the chat in the room by a couple of people. My wife was chirping in my ear. What are these people waiting for in the last second? What was Carson's deal?
He was thinking. It was so annoying.
For the full minute and a half.
Yes. Every pick. I guess Howard can say it was every pick.
Every pick. It was.
This is the dirty laundry we're talking about here. He is bad at decision making, so this is just, right there. Yeah. Evidence.
I hear you. All right. Well, I'm gonna regale you with my story. So, my wife off at work. I've in response to you talking to me about your cheat sheet fiasco, I turned around. I turned around and downloaded the cheat sheet from the Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide and emailed it to my wife and said, print this. It's all you're going to need, right? She comes home. I have her set up in the shed right behind me here on a laptop, hardwired into the internet. She walks in. There's the laptop there. It is open to the page. It's logged in under her name. Everything is right there. There is a bag of snacks waiting for her. There's a bottle of water. There's a Coca-Cola. I've got Kool-Aid juice boxes here in the shed. Like all of this waiting for her. 2 different kinds of popcorn, everything. She sits down. She looks around. She goes, "Did you de-spider the shed?" "Yes, honey, I de-spidered the shed. There's not a single spider in here." "Did you get me a magnifying glass for this cheat sheet? Because I printed it out and I can't see it." "I love you so much, honey." "No, I didn't get you a magnifying glass. Kiss my ass. Now pick on your own. Don't even ask me."
Oh, no.
It was like that. It was like that.
Oh, so I put in 0 effort, and then I laughed about it because I'm that person.
You put in 0 effort and laughed about it. I put in this tremendous effort to just, I was like, I took her, I put her, like against my helping bosom here. I was like, "Ew, it's okay. It's okay. I've got everything you need." And she spit in my face.
Guys, this is hardcore stuff. We are now in the season where I just want to remind everyone, the reason why we started this is because fantasy football is supposed to be fun. It is supposed to have funny stories like this where you and your spouse are fighting. If you're not having one of these moments, find another league where you can have them, because that's what makes fantasy football worth playing. So just a friendly reminder, everybody, we adore you and we adore fantasy football from a genuine spot in our hearts where I still talk smack to people no matter whether or not I'm playing for, trophy, $50 or $5,000. You guys, it's all the same because I'm a competitive person. And I hope you are too, because here at FA Nation, we have all the tools to help you out. Go to fantasyalarm.com/Brandon or /Bender. We're fine with both. But
do Brandon. Go ahead. Do Brandon. I will wrap up the dirty laundry talk because I know this doesn't speak to everybody, but it does speak to a lot of people. The best part about the whole draft yesterday was when we wrapped it up and we clicked analyze, and her team was rated higher than mine. She didn't clean up. She didn't do anything. She didn't move anything. She just walked right out of the shed, turned around, and was like, "You suck at this," and then went into the house.
Wow.
Oh, you suck at this. Mic drop, gone. That was my night yesterday.
Where was I on the analyze?
You were right above me, I believe, actually. I was 10.
Where was Carson? He's got to be 12.
I don't remember where Carson was, but I hope he was 12. No, I think Alex Dunlap ended up like 12.
That's just it. Whenever you're an analyst, you take chances on people. So like I went with a lot of rookies because I wanted a lot of upside, and I knew I did that on purpose because in this league it's win or go home as far as I'm concerned. It's not one where I'm like, yeah, I'll be 4th and I'll get $20. It's like win the league. So I took a lot of rookies, and so we'll talk about that too. But yeah, I'm sure there's some talented people here in the Dirty Laundry League for sure. Some of the people are actually online right now. Hi, Jane. And so anyway, again, make sure to tune in to Twitter, Facebook, ask us some questions. It's awesome. Speaking of running backs, who in the heck is starting for the Indianapolis Colts is what Matt asked on YouTube. So I'm going to ask that before we get into the meat of the show. I think the answer to this question is going to be a little bit what we're going to talk about throughout all these teams. But there are a lot of offensive lines that have issues. Indianapolis tried to address it. It has not been enough. This is also why I'm down on Andrew Luck. God love him. I'm glad that he's back. But, I have a real problem with this offensive line, and I have a real problem with these running backs. I think it's going to be Jordan Wilkins. That was the one bone that I threw to Carson. And, love Krem just said Carson's team is not good, probably. Hashtag Dirty Laundry destroys families, probably. No, I love my husband. We just, every once in a while we just have to fight it out. So this was our day. But I do think it's going to be Jordan Wilkins. There are rumors it's going to be Christian Michael. I refuse to have another conversation about Christian Michael. And even if he's the starter, I know this is maybe bold. The answer from me personally is just no. No. Well, what about you, Howard? Maybe you're a little more empathetic here. But we have yet to see one iota of a possibility of Christine Michael being an NFL running back.
I said this about Christine Michael 3 years ago, and then I reiterated it on the Fantasy Alarm show last year. Immediately, I got a call from program director Matt Deutsch saying, yeah, I know you said it on Sunday nights and it was funny, but that's not something that you should be saying during drive time radio. And that phrase was, I would rather slam my dick in a door than to have Christine Michael on a single fantasy team of mine. Okay? I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. And I think that actually also sums it up. Yeah, I would grow one to just slam it in the door if I had to have Christine Michael on my fantasy team. I'm sure it's like being an iguana when you lose your tail. I'm sure I could figure it out. I don't know.
Is it? I'm going to try it. I'll tell you, I'm going to try it. Or my wife's going to try it because when she told me how much I suck at this, she did have that Lorena Bobbitt look in her eye. I'm not going to lie about that.
Yeah, no, I know. I've been there. Our guy Felix says you do your own prep work. Print out your own stuff. You guys, the debate is over. There is no debate. My husband was a complete jerk. You print out your own stuff. Yeah, so we are going to go through team by team, and we're going to talk about what is going on right now, because a lot of team landscapes have changed over the last couple of weeks. We are going to third preseason game. This is the number one moment. The fourth preseason game is really when they're going to be cutting the roster down. And it's going to be more just final tuning of what you're going to do in your major draft push for that last week. But right now, this is exactly what you need to be looking for and what you need to do. We also want to thank our sponsor. We have a great sponsor today. It's WinView. Want to have more fun while watching the NFL preseason games? Well, WinView has the answer. It is not fantasy sports. It is not in-game wagering. It is in-game predictions. WinView producers deliver interesting questions during the game, and then you just answer yes or no, or which team or player. Now, WinView is fun, and it makes it interesting to predict what will happen in the current drive or quarter, and it takes no time at all to make your predictions. And tonight, for the Eagles versus the Browns, they are offering $1,000 free roll tonight. It's easy to predict, score, and win. To get in the game now, just go to fantasyalarm.com/winviewgames. That is fantasyalarm.com/winviewgames. That's WINVIEW games. What's better than free money? So go win today. Again, fantasyalarm.com/winviewgames. So, all right, you guys, we are going to go, as I said, team by team. We appreciate you guys. We're seeing all of your stuff. We got people doing Jinx, which I love that, it's Lava Cram and Fantasia 81 both said that Carson's teams are not good at the same time. They were actually only 30 seconds apart. I can see that. I cannot believe that happened. Same wording, just one had a devil face, but the point was there, you guys. Thank you. I appreciate you. If you guys are tuning in right now on Facebook, we're right there. Gene Gregory says he was at 3. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But right now, let's go ahead and let's get to some news. So first, let's talk about Baltimore. I think the ship has sailed for Lamar Jackson being a starting quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens starting out the season. He kind of turned into a pumpkin, a little bit of a rookie kind of thing going on here. There are some Kenneth Dixon truthers out there who think that he's going to compete with Alex Collins. I am not one of them. I have Alex Collins everywhere, but are you, Howard? No, you're not. Go ahead.
No. Again, the Kenneth Dixon nonsense to me. I mean, he's at the point now where he could be like your next Christine Michael. Just the guy who always hanging around. Somebody's always hanging on to the hope, the possibility. It's like Amir Abdullah truthers. You know, like all of a sudden, the team drafts Kerryon Johnson, but Amir Abdullah is he's gonna lead that backfield. It's stupidity. Alex Collins, I think, has the potential and should be considered an every down back. I know they've got Javorius Allen in there to do the third down pass blocking work, but Alex Collins has actually improved both his pass blocking and his pass catching. I just don't see Kenneth Dixon being anything more than a borderline handcuff. I have no desire to draft him if I'm doing a 16-team draft, which means I only have like a 6-player bench. Kenneth Dixon doesn't make that cut.
I agree. I don't think so. And I'm not handcuffing Alex Collins in this particular offense either, because I don't believe that Kenneth Dixon can get it done if his name is called. So that is how much I'm not into that. Are you worried that John Brown's the actual number one and not Michael Crabtree? However, Are you also worried about John Brown's health and his sickle cell trait? I want to believe in John Brown, and I am drafting him because he's still a double-digit guy. And again, I genuinely believe double-digit guys should be all about upside, and I do think there's a lot of upside with John Brown. I can't get his history out of my head, Howard. I'm having a tough time doing the drafting, but what say you?
I'm definitely on the same boat with John Brown as you are here. I mean, listen, it's sickle cell anemia. People are like, well, he's healthy right now. Really? Because I don't remember seeing that update that he was cured. Like, that's the thing, is that it's a condition that he is going to carry with him forever and ever and ever. And the thing is that, it's like high altitude has an effect, soft tissue injuries, the amount of time it takes you to heal. I mean, all of these factor in with John Brown. So while you might see some flashes of John Brown like we have in the past, and there's no consistency whatsoever. There's no week-to-week consistency. He's not a guy who I'm going to draft outside of maybe a best ball league, because I don't know when he's going to go off. I mean, Crabtree's always proven to be the more reliable guy and has got the week-to-week consistency that you want. So I think John Brown, I think there's nothing but hype, Brandon, and I'm not buying it at all.
I think, again, it can be it. The problem with sickle cell trait, I always say this, is that it's much harder to bounce back from injuries. So if he does get injured, he's out for 4 weeks. It's not like he's, it's a little like, bumper bruise. Maybe he misses 1 week. It would be a 4-week thing. So that is why I am personally more hesitant about John Brown than I want to be. But that doesn't mean that that I'm out completely, because he is still cheap, you guys. I will say that. I am not against you taking him in the 12th round. I'm just not, because I'm not against you taking anyone in the 12th round with upside. So I'm with you on that. Buffalo, I think the starter is going to be Josh Allen. I don't even know if it's debatable. Looks like LeSean McCoy is not getting suspended, and he is going to be a high volume guy. I don't know how I feel about this. I also think I might be drafting Kelvin Benjamin more than I want to. Guys, he has a history of putting up fantasy points. It's not pretty. But, like, if he's the only guy there, Josh Allen wants to throw it down the field. He's not good at the short passes. So, I don't know. Am I losing my mind? I did not feel this way going in. That's why we're checking in now, everybody. Things changed. I think Buffalo maybe changed the most.
I think they have changed the most. I do think it's going to be Josh Allen and not Nathan Peterman. It's no different than what the Jets are doing. They're going with Sam Darnold instead of Josh McCown, unless something dramatic happens here. I don't like it. I'm not, a huge fan of it. I do have Josh Allen in a dynasty league. I'm just going to kind of wait and see. The problem for me with Kelvin Benjamin, though, is that the dude he doesn't get, he doesn't get the separation that he needs to get. He really doesn't. And when he gets jacked up on the line, he's not able to recover from there and continue his route. So I worry about Benjamin being that deep threat. Now, it doesn't really put me on Zay Jones very much either.
No.
So I'm still kind of out on Buffalo. However, with the fact that it is Josh Allen and he is going to try and spread the field as much as possible, I'm definitely more into LeSean McCoy. There hasn't been any talk of the suspension or possible suspension here. So with that, yeah, they might start to put 8-9 men in the box to stack against him early. But if Josh Allen can become a decent quarterback and just kind of keep the defenses honest, well then Shady McCoy becomes a much bigger threat for me. So definitely want to watch how Allen looks in these next 2 preseason games.
Well, and even if he's not even that good, his arm is such that he's best so far downfield, they have to guard against that. Right. So it's going to divide up the defense, whether they like it or not, because they're not going to be able to just let people run wild because he can throw 50 yards. So if they don't, they have to figure out how to defend against someone that can throw that far. Now, listen, Kelvin Benjamin's ADP right now is in the 9th round, and that's a little high for me. I think in analyst leagues, I think in football people's leagues that aren't just following the cheat sheet, he usually drops farther than that. If he's in double-digit rounds, I'm okay with it. 9th round is a little dicey because right there you got Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Nelson Aguilar, Jamison Crowder, Mike Williams. I'd rather have all of those guys than Kelvin Benjamin. But if Kelvin Benjamin falls enough and everyone's league's different. I think I'm okay with a volume play there because I do think that he'll be the most targeted guy. And I thought it was going to be Curley because I thought it'd be Nathan Peterman and it'd be the slot guy. But I think the slot guy might just be non-existent in the blocker if it's Josh Allen.
Is this the end of Charles Clay?
Yeah. I'm very out on Charles Clay if it's Josh Allen. I don't see him. I know. All right, Howard, you win. Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll say that.
He was 142 years old when we first started talking to each other, Brandon, and that was like just what 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Come on, he was old then.
I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are talking about how like our guy Mike Stepney is saying like John Brown's gonna have games where he explodes. Agreed.
Best ball.
Yeah, best ball, agreed. And people are asking if we're down with people having a problem with them making Bell in the first and taking Gronk in the second. No, I'm all about that. I actually made a tweet today. We're going to be talking about the Patriots here in a minute, where I just was like, listen, without Edelman there, let's be honest, the simplest answer is usually right. It's going to be Gronk that most benefits. I mean, at the beginning of the season, I'm sorry, it's Gronk all day. Is he going to miss games? Yep, and he'll still be one of the top 2 tight ends, and that's it. And right now, I got him in the 3rd round in the Dirty Laundry League. That's crazy value. He's normally a 1st-round pick. This year, he's dropped to the 2nd, but to get him in the 3rd, I have other leagues where I've done the same. That is crazy. But we are moving on to Cincinnati.
No, I don't want to move on to Cincinnati.
No.
No.
Okay. I thought I could just brush the dirty laundry in the closet. No.
Listen, if you're my work wife, I'm going to dish on my work spouse here right now. I'll tell you, the guy who I think benefits the most, Brandon, is got to be Chris Hogan. Like, Chris Hogan's going to be the lead wide out for the first 4 weeks. Then Edelman's going to come back. And by the time Edelman comes back, where's Gronk? Oh, he's on the sidelines with a pulled oblique muscle or a strained hamstring or something to that effect. Like, I mean, listen, I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen week 5. That you're going to get Edelman, not going to get Edelman, Gronk, and Hogan there. But I think, once Edelman comes back, Gronk's going to end up on the shelf a little bit. Still, Chris Hogan maintains that steady stream of targets.
Nobody puts Gronk in the corner.
I put Gronk in a corner.
No one does that.
And those Tide commercials are terrible.
Oh, listen, he's not an actor.
No.
He should stop.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of Ezekiel Elliott questions. You guys stay tuned. We both have very strong opinions about Ezekiel Elliott and that offensive line. And as I said, offensive lines are issues, and I want to talk about Cincinnati. I think it's still an issue. I don't understand why we thought that all of a sudden Cincinnati was going to be a better offense. I have not seen that in the preseason. I have not seen a glimmer of it. I don't hate Joe Mixon as a talent, people. I just think it's going to be hard to get them to the red zone. Am I crazy? Like, I don't even know if they're going to make first downs. And to be honest with you, it kind of makes me a little worried about AJ Green. AJ Green is someone that I love, but there is a reason why AJ Green's now a 2nd-round pick, almost a 3rd-round pick. Because I got him at the end of the 2nd last night, and I was like, okay, well, that's fine. But in terms of him like putting up elite, but he is going to have a good PPR floor, I think. But man, I'm nervous. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm not as nervous. I do like some of the improvements they made on the offensive line. They definitely Billy Price needs to be able to get a bigger push on his blocks. I'm a little curious as to how Bill Lazor's really going to settle in on his blocking. When coordinators try to mix in zone blocking and man blocking, that's where the real problem lies. Because man blocking is great if you've got these if you've got 5 380-pound behemoths who can just take a guy out, well then yeah, that's great for man blocking. But Joe Mixon thrives in a lot more of a zone blocking way, which means that you need your guys to pull more. You need your guards to pull. You need your tackles to really veer out to the outside there and be able to take down somebody. So, I think that's one of the struggles that we are seeing with this offensive line is that I think Lazor is kind of trying to mix in a little bit of that man blocking. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not gonna be out on them, but I don't know. I guess I'm not as concerned as you are. I guess I might be a little higher on Joe Mixon. I guess the big problem here, though, is that I mean it's Andy Dalton. You want to talk? I mean AJ Green falling in the to the second round. I think that's more of a product of late second. But I think that's more of a product of them not really having anybody on the other side of the field or having a really legit slot receiver anymore. Like when Mohamed Sanu was there, it was one thing. Sanu had talent that he could draw coverage. John Ross is fly down the field, and that's it. If you put him in man coverage, he's either going to beat the guy or he's not going to beat the guy. Rarely are you going to really worry about floating the safety over in his direction. Tyler Boyd out of the slot, he's still a little green, and we don't know. I don't mean green as in I mean green as in a newbie, not green as in AJ.
Tyler Boyd. Yeah, and he lost a fumble in the last game.
I know, right? What is up with these kids? I want somebody on a Friday Night Light. All of these kids, Nyheim Hines, Tyler Boyd, just start duct taping footballs to these idiots' hands on a regular basis. That's what you need to do. It's killing me. But so AJ Green, he's going to always draw the top cover corner. He's always going to draw the double coverage. I think that's really what's affecting him more than, just the overall offense of the Bengals and the line and Mixon. But that's just me. That's my opinion.
And he could draw the double coverage because they don't need to guard against Mixon. So here's the deal. He played the Cowboys. He gained 8 yards on 4 carries, and he caught his only target, but was for 1 yard. Listen, I'm not sitting here saying that this is how it's always going to be, but it's the Cowboys. It wasn't exactly like a ferocious D. The line is still a problem, or it's Joe Mixon that's a problem. And frankly, Giovanni Bernard did do better than him last year, and there's no getting around that. So I'm a little concerned, but I think you still have to take him because he is a bell cow back. At this point, it doesn't matter how we feel about him. He's still a 3rd or 4th round pick, and that's life. I'm not going to dog you for doing that. But yeah, would you be nervous about it? Yeah, you probably should be because it's a little crazy. Cleveland, though, how do you feel about the Carlos Hyde is the guy, not Nick Chubb, and we should just move on with life? Do you agree?
I do agree. I agree for right now. Listen, you know what? Nick Chubb's got to learn. He's got to learn. Here's a guy who's had more carries than rushing yards in the preseason. That's not good. That's not good. Now you can blame the second string offensive line all you want, but Nick Chubb should still be getting a little bit more traction there. You brought in Carlos Hyde. You gave him a 3-year contract. Use him. Make it work. Make it happen. I think that's really the way it goes. And let Nick Chubb be like a change of pace back. Give him some short yardage stuff maybe.
By the way, who is Wilkes? I did see that Brandon hates Mixon. I don't hate Mixon. I just hate Cincinnati's offensive line. I do hate that Antonio Callaway lied to his teammates and that we're supposed to be just A-okay. And now Josh Gordon is back, but not really. And Travis Landry is a little crazy. But I think he's probably the most sane and stable person that's at the wide receiver corps. So I think he probably has this highest floor at least. He's an incredibly good football player. I don't know, guys, stop using ADOT as your only metric to measure whether or not someone's good at football. He's a slot receiver, okay? His ADOT is not going to be as impressive, but the guy always creates yards after the catch. He has the most receptions in NFL history in the first 4 years of any career ever, you guys. It's not debatable, okay? He can play football. But are the Browns going to brown? I still feel like there's Hugh Jackson. There's still a lot of Brownie things happening here. So I'm a little nervous here. Thoughts?
I'm a little nervous too. I really am. One of the things, let's say, Josh Gordon, I respected the fact that he needed to take some time off, didn't want to come to camp with the Hard Knocks cameras, get healthy, get better. Fine, that's great. But to me, in fantasy, you have to accept the fact that here's a guy who did this, in camp. This could happen during the regular season. Let's say the Browns, for some inane reason, let's say the Browns end up like 6-1. Yeah. All right. After the first 7 games of the season there. Okay. Everybody's flying high. Everything's rah-rah Cleveland. The city's loving him. Everybody's loving him. He's making the his way around the talk show circuit, blah, blah, blah. Tell us your story. You telling me Josh Gordon's not going to need some treatment? Yeah.
And he should get it. He should get it too. I want to say this out loud. He should absolutely do that. But that's why, because I feel that way, I'm nervous. And his ADP goes up almost a round per 3-day period right now.
Ninth round or lower. That's the only time I'll take him.
Where do you think he is going right now?
Oh, he's going anywhere. I've seen him go as high as the 3rd round. I've seen him go in the 4th and 5th. On average, I would say probably like 5th or 6th is where I see him going.
Fantasy Football Calculator has him at 4'11", average. People are going crazy about this guy. People think he's going to win their leagues for them. They're like, but he put up 1,600 yards. But that was 5 years ago. You guys, I looked so good 5 years ago. Like, time passes, and now I have to go to the gym.
Right. This
and that's
was
okay.
not what it was 5 years ago.
Listen, it's life, and that's fine. I just think it's a little bit too much pressure to put on your fantasy talent on your team to put up numbers from 5 years ago. Now, he's still a young guy, he's still in shape. I'm not saying anything about that, but it does take us from our focus. And by the way, we don't know what he has literally never played football sober.
And let's address the quarterback situation too.
Oh yeah.
It's Tyrod Taylor throwing to him. I mean, listen, he hasn't.
Tyrod Taylor's been perfect in the preseason. I mean, he is playing so well, and actually, so is Baker Mayfield. So I'm not gonna listen. Maybe, but you're right. I mean, it's not exactly like Tyrod Taylor's the guy that I'm like, you know what? I think that's the one who's gonna really bring someone back from 5 years ago career. It's not Drew Brees throwing him the ball. I'm with you. And listen, I support him in his recovery. I'm all about it. It just makes me nervous. But Carlos Hyde, I've moved him up in my rankings quite a bit. I think he's the one person that I've changed my mind on. Yeah?
I'm a fan. I am definitely a fan.
Great. I am going to go on to Denver. Denver has just been really weird this offseason, but I will say that it looks like Case Keenum's connection with Emmanuel Sanders is pretty legit. We don't really know who is playing tight end, but you can still get Emmanuel Sanders in like the 7th or 8th round.
I know. I love that.
No sense. It's the weirdest thing. And I feel like every fantasy show, I'm not even going to act like we're special here, Howard. Every fantasy show says the same thing about Emmanuel Sanders over and over again. Like I can't believe he's going the 8th round. And yet his ADP doesn't go up at all. It's bizarre. So anyway, guys, it's still weird. You can still get him in the 8th round. Listen, I think everyone is, you can get Demaryius Thomas in the 4th. I feel fine about that. Royce Freeman is kind of the big conversation piece here.
Yeah, you took him, the 3rd round of the Dirty Laundry League last night?
No, I took him end of the 4th.
End of the 4th, was it?
Yeah.
Let me go to my trash board here.
In the third.
Oh, yeah, you did. All right, so Royce Freeman coming back around in the 4th then. 3rd pick of the 4th round. I liked it. I'm not going to lie. Especially looking at the other running backs.
It was the 11th pick, wasn't it?
No. Oh, yeah, it was the 11th. Yeah, it was the 11th pick.
End of the 4th, yeah.
End of the 4th. And then you came back around early on with the Kerryon Johnson pick after that.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Because I figured one of them would work out to pair with Le'Veon Bell, and the other one could just be a flex guy that I play on matchups. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, so but I think it's pretty clear that he's the guy, even though he has still continued to be about 50-50 with Devontae Booker in terms of snaps. Again, it's the preseason, you can't read too much into it. But he's been the only one that's getting the goal line carries. He literally has scored both the touchdowns for the team. So any other thoughts on that? Other than embrace rookies? I mean,
other than what?
Embrace rookies. I mean, the ones that have panned out. We're going to talk about the ones that haven't panned out here in a minute. But the ones that are panning out, I think, listen, 4th round is where you have to take them.
Well, I mean, just given the overall state of the running back position right now, when you lose a guy like Darius Geis, when Ronald Jones is taking a dump on everybody, Rashad Penny is backtracking from, with the broken finger and losing ground to Chris Carson there. When you see these guys being chopped down, all of a sudden you have to take a look at the Royce Freemans and bump them up. Like that's like all of a sudden it's so funny. Like people are like, poo-pooing on Jordan Howard. And I'm like, guys, would you rather have Jordan Howard or wait to see what happens between Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber? Like that to me, that elevates a lot of the running backs on the overall draft board, that if they do have that, the clear path to the majority of touches in their backfield, you have to bump them up on your board. You have to.
And according to Fantasy Football Calculator again, like we have all sorts of different places that we check things. They're showing him at 310, Royce Freeman. So the idea that you can get him too much lower than the fourth is just not true. I think third is a little bit aggressive. I wouldn't go that far, but I think the end of the fourth though is probably where you have to take him, and I think you should feel okay about it. The other thing is that Chad Kelly's had a really good preseason. There is a possibility that he pushes Case Keenum a little bit. I still think they're going to go with Case Keenum though, but it is nice that they actually have a decent backup as opposed to Trevor Siemian. Let's talk about Houston here, you guys. Houston has Howard's boyfriend, Deshaun Watson. I actually think I have almost the exact same feelings about Houston.
Wait. I mean, is he my boyfriend? Did he say something? Did you hear something?
Well, he told me you looked good today.
I mean, I asked him out, and I put in a note. Do you like me? Yes or no? Circle one. I haven't checked my locker yet, so I mean, what did he say?
Check your locker is all I'm gonna say after the show.
All right, fine. What's up? Talk to you.
I feel the same way about Houston that I did before. I don't think there's any updates on rankings. You either into it or you aren't, and it is what it is. Do you have any other feelings?
No, I mean. No, my feeling's never going to change about Lamar Miller. I know what the type of back he is. Yeah. And Alfred Blue, I mean, to me, just sticking with Alfred Blue in the wake of the Donta Foreman injury and everything like that tells me that Houston's not really all that concerned about their ground game too much. They're not making any stark improvements there. Kiki Kuti got a little the buzz, but that's quieted down.
Yeah,
Will Fuller's dropped though. Will Fuller's dropped a lot in drafts, and the question I ask you here is that is he deserving of the drop? Did we have him too high up early on in ADP rankings in June and July that now we're looking at him as more of an 8th or a 9th round guy? Or I mean, do we have reason to believe that there should be a drop in his ranking?
Yeah, I mean, I think he should be going around the, Emmanuel Sanders, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Devin Funchess, Robbie Anderson. I think that's where he should be. I feel fine with that. I've gotten him quite a few places. I like Will Fuller.
Okay.
Listen, the guy has a ton of potential. He's a first-round pick. It's not like he came out of nowhere. People act like, oh, this is a big stretch. No, they took him for a reason. So I'm with you on that. We already touched on the Indianapolis running back situation, which is just a disaster. It's T.Y. Hilton. It's Andrew Luck. They have a bad offensive line. Moving on. Anything else?
No, nothing else really about the Colts. I do like your call earlier that Jordan Wilkins is likely to be the guy who kind of comes away with it. I wouldn't mind to see Marlon Mack, but I just read a report saying that Marlon Mack might not even be ready for week 1 dealing with his hamstring problem. So give me Jordan Wilkins, definitely. Don't give me Christine Michael.
Yeah, we're not talking about him. Jacksonville Jaguars, exactly who I think they were. You guys, I have been asked a few times about whether or not Leonard Fournette is someone that's worthy of a first-round pick. I just want to remind you guys, actually, Leonard Fournette had the highest game speed last season in Week 5. He also had the second fastest. Then there was Marquise Goodwin and Martavis Bryant. So they weren't just clocking running backs. And he's a huge man. So, yes, I think he's worthy of the first-round pick. Are we worried about the injuries? Maybe a little bit. But you guys, the running backs are worried about everybody. Do you have anything else to say about Jacksonville? Otherwise, it's all pretty much the same. Marquise Lee's the guy. Probably Keelan Cole's going to have really big games. Other than that, it's going to be hit or miss, right?
Yeah, Safarian Jenkins, maybe a late-round sleeper tight end. But yeah, Leonard Fournette to me is a top 10 overall player. Kind of have him ranked in that 7 through 10, 7 through 11. He could go in that range of your drafts. Yeah. So I can dig that.
I can dig it. Let's talk about Kansas City. You guys, Sammy Watkins.
Ooh, a positive report. Sammy and Patrick Mahomes,
it's always positive. And we haven't seen it anywhere in preseason. And you know what we keep seeing? Tyreek Hill being amazing at football. I don't know why everyone decided that he was the guy that was going to be the buzz this year. But man, I'm not on that. I have never been on that train. I never will be. Listen, you can pay people wide receiver money because that's the market and not actually ignore the guy who's been your wide receiver 1 for 2 years running. That's all I'm saying. Do I think it opens it up a little bit? Sure. But I think this is going to be a Rams situation. I do not think he's going to be putting up wide receiver 1 numbers. But the good thing is you don't have to draft him like that. So how do you feel about Watkins?
I will have shares of Sammy. I will take him somewhere in that like
Yeah.
7th round or whatever. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm not banking on it. Like to me, when you grab a guy like Watkins, you look at what's been going on. I mean, he had his shining moments early in the career in Buffalo. The injuries just kind of ruined him to the point where you're just like, I just don't know what to do with him. He didn't gel nicely with the Rams last year, which was a little bit of a disappointment there. But I mean, he's a guy who I think is great for a guy like Patrick Mahomes, not great for a guy like Jared Goff. Like Jared Goff, I think, can be a much more efficient quarterback, and he's less inclined to being like, screw it. Let me just throw it downfield here. Patrick Mahomes with the golden arm and Andy Reid, who's like, yeah, throw it. Like that's going to help Sammy Watkins out a little bit here in Kansas City. And that I can get on board with. So I'll get some shares of him. I'm not banking on it, but yeah, listen, I think the connection is definitely something that could pan out, and then it could all just blow up in your face, either or.
Melvin Gordon is the starting running back for the Los Angeles Chargers. Do not talk to me about Austin Eckler. I can't take it. It is going to be Keenan Allen, obviously. It looks like it's going to be Mike Williams as the number 2. Tyrell Williams is having issues with his foot. Phillip Rivers is Phillip Rivers, and he'll constantly sidearm, and it just is what it is, so don't watch the tape. Do you have anything else to add about the Chargers? Because that's
the Chargers. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, I can just imagine our producer Edward just kind of getting all like uppity in his chair, the big smile on his face, and he's like, Charger talk.
Yeah. It's the only time he's like, oh, it's okay that they're still in the AFC even though it's 7:45.
I'm gonna test the ability of our tech right now and see if we can turn on Edward's talk button here. Edward Rouse, can you hear me, Edward?
Yes, I can. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, Edward. We're talking Los Angeles Chargers here. We're talking about Melvin Gordon, Michael Williams, Keenan Allen, and Phillip Rivers. Is there anything else that we need to discuss when it comes to the Los Angeles Chargers?
Besides being a little turned on right now. No. I think you guys
Deshaun
nailed it.
Watson's my boyfriend, not you.
I like Mike Williams a lot this year. I've actually reached a little high for him in some drafts, but I think he's become a real red zone threat for the team, especially with a Hunter Henry injury. So I like upstick on touchdowns for him this year. Huge, maybe even leading the team in touchdown receptions by the end of the year. There's my take on that.
All right, listen, I like that take on Mike Williams. Actually, yeah. I do, and I've reached for him in a couple of drafts as well.
As you should. All right. All right, guys.
All right, Edward, you can now go excuse yourself to the men's room for a little while. Please wash your hands afterwards.
Of course, I will. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Or I can make sure that I really throw some water on that, and we can talk about the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah, right? Look at you. You're like the anti-fantasy football Viagra.
Yeah, I really am.
Thanks.
Okay, Ryan Tannehill worked out with that brace. He will be back. Other than that, there's not much else to say. I mean, I'm still going with Kenyon Drake. I don't trust Adam Gase as far as I can throw him, but I still think that Kenyon Drake's an incredibly talented player. And so far, Kalen Ballage, no one has proven to me that they should be getting excessive touches over Kenyon Drake. Now, of course, Adam Gase is like, but I love Frank Gore.
Well, first of all, with your bad knee, Brandon, you shouldn't be throwing anybody. Okay. Second of all, yeah, Gase is he's crushing Drake's value. Like, I don't necessarily know. I know Drake is, Gore is like 3 rushing touchdowns away from cracking the top 20, but he's like 8 or 9 touchdowns away from cracking the top 15 on the all-time list. So maybe it's a little different. I wish I could have a more positive outlook for Drake, given the fact that Gase is loving on Gore here. But, I mean, come on, Gore, the dude's 35 years old. He hasn't averaged more than 4 yards per carry in the last 3 seasons. His touchdown total's down. Everything's down with him. So I just don't know really how long that's going to last. What I'm really hoping for is I'm really hoping that Gore is kind of treating this as I should be mentoring Kenyon Drake a little bit more on being a successful running back. And then maybe he just kind of, because I could see Gore being like a really good running backs coach when he's done playing the game. So I'm hoping maybe that's kind of where we're looking at, but I'm still hesitant to grab Drake in like that third round where people are taking him. They're taking him early third. Some even I've seen him take late second. So I'm skeptical there. But, I mean, again, then you're also looking at the fact that, yeah, you said Tannehill with the knee brace. Devontae Parker sucks at football.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Stills is banged up. Gesicki's a good sleeper option, late round tight end if you want to grab. But, man, I hate this offense. I do, for fantasy especially.
Well, on to an offense as prolific as the Patriots, the question is Jeremy Hill this year's Dion Lewis?
Ooh, I don't know if he's this year's Dion Lewis as much as he's got the potential of being the new LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Either way, those are very relevant fantasy players.
Very
I'm
relevant.
right that we've overlooked Jeremy Hill.
Right, that's going to be an interesting one, actually.
Everyone else is hurt.
Yeah, but like James White can't go between the tackles. Sony Michel, yeah, it's the bone-on-bone situation there. Rex Burkhead, yeah. What's the state of his injury right now?
Oh, I think it's like minor, but the point is that it's like a slight tear or something. But
yeah. Jeremy Hill, last round.
Why not throw a dart, guys? The Jets. Do you have any thoughts on them from a fantasy perspective?
I was talking to Chris from the Dirty Laundry League, Chris Carota, and we were trying to come up with a ton of different team names to involve Sam Darnold. So, like doing like a Tom Darnold kind of spin. Anything off of the name Arnold is really where we're coming up with. When it comes to talking about my Jets, I immediately go to Green Acres and I go with Darnold the Pig.
Oh, okay. But that's old school right there.
I mean, I don't hate what they're doing here. I'm not totally into it. I get what they're doing by having Darnold, who was very impressive. He's had a very impressive preseason. My biggest concern here, and I think I hope that this boosts the value of Isaiah Crowell a little bit more. That they lean on Crowell a little bit more in the in the overall plan here, because if Darnold struggles for the first 3 weeks of the season, 4 weeks of the season, Brandon, what are you going to do? You're going to take him out? You're going to replace him with Teddy Bridgewater? You're going to replace – I know, right? See? I see it. You're going to replace him with Josh McCown. What are you doing to Darnold's level of confidence by yanking him for one of these chuckleheads? And let's just say the switch around. You go to Josh McCown, who's been a survivor in the NFL. Let's say he has like a successful first couple of games. Like, what are you doing to Darnold's confidence there? So that's my hesitancy. So I'm really hoping that helps boost Isaiah Crowell a little bit.
Well, we've got 3 teams left in the AFC. Oakland Raiders. I think Marshawn Lynch is actually a value right now. I have changed my tune on Marshawn Lynch. I think that they will use him until he passes out. All right. He's going so late. Late.
And he's a thug. He's a douche. And I say that from my personal standpoint. Listen, you know what? I'll just say this about Marshawn Lynch. What kind of a team spirit do you have when your quarterback just got destroyed by a late hit, and while the skirmish is happening, you go running in there and go save the player from the opposite team because he's your boy from the East Bay? And what's it saying?
I don't get negative fantasy points for that, so I don't.
Right,
care.
but what's it saying also though when your team is down, and you're not telling your coach that you want to go in, you want to help, you want to do whatever you can. You're content putting the beanie on and go sitting on the sidelines.
Well, yeah.
I mean, what's that say about the type of player he is? Yeah, maybe he's going to have a couple of good games here where he, gets into the end zone twice for, with his 28 yards that he amasses, but I mean, I can't put any kind of trust into him.
I think that he's one of the last lead backs going off the board. I think if you're someone that waited and you have an issue, I think he might be your guy. Pittsburgh, Vance McDonald's aiming for week 1, but may not get there. He has definitely slid down the fantasy draft boards, and he should. Everyone else is about the same, but what do you think is going to happen with Le'Veon Bell? And what do you think is going to happen with James Washington? Because they can't put this guy on the bench, right? I mean, they're going to have to find a way to get him in there. So what does this do to Juju? I mean, Antonio Brown's hurt, but obviously he is GOAT. So we're okay with that. But it's a little funky over there, a little funkier than I'd like.
So on Tuesday's Fantasy Alarm Show on Sirius XM, we had Kevin Colbert, GM of the Steelers, on the show. And we actually asked him, questions like this. And he was the first one to say, they've never had a problem with Le'Veon Bell being in shape when he reports to camp, but football shape and in shape are two totally different things. And so Colbert actually expressed a little bit of concern there. He highlighted James Conner, highlighted a little bit of Jalen Samuels, just to kind of talk about these guys and the structure of the backfield there, because he didn't want to say that he was concerned, but he said that last year's slow start probably wasn't a fluke. As far as James Washington goes, well, first, as far as the tight end situation goes, he spotlighted Jesse James. And he basically said for the exact same reason that you just gave. Vance McDonald's hurt. Xavier Grimble's hurt. And if you're looking for a tight end late in your drafts, well, guess what? At least for the first couple of weeks of the season, you're probably looking at Jesse James being the number 1 tight end there in Pittsburgh. Now, James Washington, no, he's not going to the bench. Colbert said that Pittsburgh is going. Randy Fichtner is taken over as the offensive coordinator over there, is going along with that same groupthink that we're seeing in the NFL. A lot more 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. You're going to see James Washington on the field a bunch. I think James Washington, what he could be this year, is what everybody had hoped Martavis Bryant was going to be the last 2 years and failed to produce.
Agreed. Rashard Matthews reportedly had a knee surgery to repair a torn meniscus, which is why he had not been at camp. Delaney Walker remains sidelines. They're putting it undisclosed. Rashard Matthews was undisclosed up to this moment. Corey Davis has been impressing, but not impressing to a point where I was like, next to Antonio Brown. I mean, it's fine, but just nothing that really gets me excited. Does this offense have the potential to be as uneven and frustrating as it was last season when Marcus Mariota was one of the very, very few quarterbacks to throw more interceptions than touchdowns?
I definitely worry about this offense. I think that they need to stick with the whole thunder and lightning, thunder and thunder, whatever's coming out of the backfield there, Dion Lewis and Derrick Henry. They definitely need to focus on that. Corey Davis, the reports today was that, offensive coordinator Matt LaFleur is moving him all over the place, working him out of the slot, working him as the X, working him as the Z.
There's no one else there, of course.
Right. Well, but
Taywan Taylor actually is my sleeper, so I do like him.
I do like Taywan Taylor as a late round sleeper as well. But I mean, listen, Corey Davis, I'm not sold. I think there's a lot of hype that's been surrounding him. This isn't Western Michigan. And I think a lot of it hinges on Marcus Mariota and whether he takes that next step forward. He didn't last year. Actually took a very big step backwards. So I do worry about this offense in the passing game. And, the only one who I really trust is Delaney Walker. Now, I know that, injuries are, something you're always going to worry about with Delaney, but he also happens to be the most targeted guy on the field in Tennessee. So you kind of have to look at that, especially in a PPR format.
Yeah, so Mike Stephanie did point out that the rumor is that a defensive lineman stepped on his foot and it's a toe injury, although I heard that it may be a foot instead of just a toe. We're not quite sure. Either way, we don't want Delaney Walker on the sidelines ever. We have 6 minutes to hit the NFC, and we got this. Arizona, Josh Rosen is not throwing right now because of a thumb injury. It's going to be Sam Bradford at the start of the season. It's fine. I feel good about both of them. I actually don't think this offense looks all that terrible, to be entirely frank. There is a debate about the number 2. It might be Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk usually plays in the slot, which is where Larry is most of the time now, so that might be a little weird. Then it's Bryce Butler, Chad Williams, Ricky Seals-Jones, still a sleeper. But I don't think they're as bad as we thought, and I think they're all cheap, except for Larry and Dave.
I want to hear you roll through the whole NFC right now, and if I got something to say, I'm going to chime in.
Okay, well, we'll try. We'll try. Okay, so nothing to say about Arizona. Like it.
You just
okay,
said 6 minutes. You could do it. Go.
I think we can. Okay. So, in terms of the Atlanta Falcons, I know this is really weird, but Matt Bryant actually has an injury right now and considered a game time decision because your kickers do matter if you play with them. So make sure to pay attention to these things. If Matt Ryan somehow gets cut because he's injured, you got a real problem in your best ball leagues. Big problem. Julio Jones going to be ready for week 1. You know, it's always kind of weird with him. Matt Ryan, in my opinion, Devontae Freeman, in my opinion, are in too many of my leagues because I just think they're obviously going to be in line for a bounce back year in terms of touchdowns. I actually have to stop drafting them, Howard. They're in too many of my leagues, but I'm going to suggest everyone else do so now. So you're welcome. The Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton is supposedly maybe on the hot seat here. Do you think that there's a possibility that he actually doesn't happen? And by the way, DJ Moore supposedly might start with a small role, but it still looks like it's going to be the Funches show there, which again, he's someone that you can get really late because people believed that he was definitely not going to be the guy. I don't think that's what's going on here. DJ Moore's been a little more quiet in the exhibition games than we thought that he would be. Christian McCaffrey's killing it, but he killed it last preseason too. So I still don't think the guy's built to be a 3-down back, but it could happen. A lot of people are drafting him that way. Would you do that?
I would not draft him as a 3-down back at all, nor do I think Cam Newton is on the hot seat. I think if anybody's on the hot seat, it's going to be Norv Turner. We've seen him quit on teams before. We've seen him fired before. So this is a Norv Turner thing, not a Cam Newton thing.
Yep. Chicago Bears, Adam Shaheen is nursing a sprained foot. It looks like he might actually be out for some extended period of time here, which, guys, it's a Trey Burton show there. I mean, is there anything else to talk about with the Bears other than Trey Burton and Jordan Howard are just going to run this town?
Anthony Miller. Anthony Miller.
Anthony Miller. Yes. That was another person I got in the Dirty Laundry League along with Michael Gallup. These two rookies have the biggest path. Why? Because what's happening with Allen Robinson? Is this ever going to happen? I think there's a possibility Allen Robinson does not happen, people. And I think that you will really like having Anthony Miller on your team. Kevin White, though, still not proving himself. Obviously, Taylor Gabriel is probably going to be the other guy, which is insane. Dallas Cowboys have no offensive line. People have been asking us about Zeke. And I just want to say he has been at the bottom of those top tier running backs to me this whole preseason, and he is certainly not moving up anytime soon. It has nothing to do with Zeke or his personal life or anything else. But I will say that there is just no way that this offense is going to run the way that they need to. And also, I don't think their defense is going to run the way that they need to. So they're going to have to throw a lot. I think could be a recipe for disaster, Howard. Thoughts?
No, I think you pretty much covered it all. Yeah.
There we go.
I'm right there with you, 100%.
Detroit Lions. So here's the problem. They have a new head coach, Matt Patricia, but Matt Patricia is a defensive guy. They have the same offensive coordinator, everybody. It is still Jim Bob Cooter. They are going to pass the ball. So even though I am a Kerryon Johnson fan, don't get me wrong, this is the most pass-heavy offense over the last 3 seasons in the National Football League. Marvin Jones looks like he's number 1 in camp and everything. But you guys, Golden Tate always eats, and he is a after-the-catch specialist, always leads the league in those numbers. He's at least top 5 every single year that he is healthy. So, and he's usually relatively healthy. At least he gets to that point because at the end, he's somehow still on top. But, you know, listen, I think that there's really nothing else that exciting here or changing other than Kerryon Johnson. Could they possibly finally have a 1,000-yard rusher? Maybe. I think he still misses that mark, though, because Jim Bob Cooter is still there and Matt Patricia is a defense guy. Anything?
Yeah, no, it's I'm not buying the Kenny Golladay hype. Golden Tate is still my guy. I do love Kerryon Johnson, but yeah, I do feel like he is going to suffer at the hands of Jim Bob Cooter and the style of offense that he wants to play. The presence of LeGarrette Blount there as well. Theo Riddick ain't going away either. So it's going to rotate those backs around pretty substantially, I think, which is going to be a bummer, but in the end, that's what it's going to do for the Lions themselves.
And I also want to thank you from Mr. Howard Bender here because you guys, all preseason, it's the Jamal Williams show in Green Bay. It it's not really a debate anymore. I know we want to act like it, but actually the team doesn't seem to think it's a debate. They're going to mix other people in, of course, because no one should be on the field 100% of the time, especially at the running back position. But it looks like he is the guy. And again, he's kind of like that Marshawn Lynch, Isaiah Crowell, where he's going so late because people are like, oh, I don't really know. But it's like, well, the team knows. Davante Adams is still the dude. But a lot of weird stuff happening with that second wide receiver. I actually don't have a take on this because I think any of them could be the wide receiver too, and I would be 0% shocked. They basically only drafted wide receivers this year. They have like 10 of them like just coming out. I feel like I see a new name every preseason game. Then they also, obviously still have their Randall Cobb there. And then they brought in Jimmy Graham, and Jimmy Graham did catch a touchdown, and everyone freaked out. But again, Davante Adams has scored the absolute most touchdowns in the entire NFL out of any wide receiver in the National Football League. They already have a target. I think 10 is going to be too much for Jimmy Graham. It's not going to happen. Thoughts?
There's a reason that Davante Adams is on the cover of the Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide. There's a reason. And it's going to be phenomenal. That's all I'll say about Davante Adams. Jamal Williams, yes. You've got 2 weeks, buddy. Show us what you can do. It's going to be all you, and we'll see what happens there. Ty Montgomery will get, some of the third down work, but they need to kind of work him out of the slot a little bit. Scantling, Valdez Scantling, the kid, he's like, it's him and Geronimo Allison are going to be the guys vying for that Z receiver on the opposite side of Davante Adams. So I think that's really where we're looking at. I think I give the edge to Allison over Valdez Scantling for now, but it's definitely not etched in stone.
All right, so I know that we have not hit the goal, but I think we're really close. So I'm going to get this done in 4 minutes. We're going to get out in 5 minutes late, you guys. That's it. Okay, bam. All of the NFC. I know. Or do I need to go?
No. I'm just going to shut up. Do it.
There we go. Here it is. We got 4 minutes. All right. So the Los Angeles Rams they're still going to be a really great defense or a really great offense. Everybody, they're going to put up a lot of points. And actually, all three of those receivers are going late enough that you could actually make an argument to draft any of them. They're all going kind of in a cluster. Cook's a little bit higher, but really Woods and Cooper Kupp have about the same ADP, and I think that's fine. I will say this: Gerald Everett is hurt. Tyler Higbee has taken over the lead tight end role as of now. In fact, they're not quite sure he's even going to get in on the first week of the season. Tyler, we're not going to see Todd Gurley in preseason, everybody. You're welcome. Amazing. Minnesota's offensive line is just as scary as the Dallas Cowboys, and no one's talking about it. It is really bad over there. Howard's talking about it. I'm a little concerned about Dalvin Cook. I'm also concerned about Latavius Murray taking the goal line carries away from Dalvin Cook, especially considering the offensive line situation. I will say Kirk Cousins looked better than I thought he would under pressure, like he has been this entire time. I'm still okay with Thielen and Diggs. I'm not as big on Diggs as everyone else because I'm just not quite sure he's going to be able to get down the field because of that offensive line.
I will say this. I will interject one thing. Kirk Cousins has played behind a crappy offensive line throughout his time in Washington. Trent Williams was out last year. He's very much used to rolling out and just giving his receivers time, giving the play some time to develop a little bit, which is, again, why I kind of feel like Diggs will have a better rapport with him than Adam Thielen. I do. I just think that Diggs is going to be able to shoot downfield, and Cousins is going to look for that a lot more while he's under pressure, as opposed to the down low inside stuff for Thielen, especially when defenses know now that they have to key in on Thielen a little bit more. That's all I'll say. Keep going.
I'm forgetting one of these people, but to me, Mark Ingram is a no draft. I don't understand how he's still going in the fourth round. It drives me crazy. He is only back for one game against Washington. Then he has a bye week in week 6, and then he plays 3 of the toughest defenses against the run right afterwards. It's the Vikings, the Ravens, and the Los Angeles Rams. You will not feel confident starting Mark Ingram until week 10, and you're going to pay a 4th round draft pick for him. That is bananas. Ben Watson actually was the most accurate and pass catcher in the National Football League at the tight end position last year, and he's only a couple seasons away from 74 passes caught for 825 yards and 6 touchdowns by Drew Brees. I think there's a potential there. We do I think it's Edward has a guy here. Just chime in real quick, Edward, on your man and for the Los Angeles Rams. Traquan. No?
Oh, he's on the Saints.
Yeah, that's where we are.
Oh, yeah, Traquan Smith. I'm a huge college guy. I watch college a lot. Watching him play in college, I don't, the combine's the combine. This guy's a playmaker. The Saints find receivers out of nowhere to step in, and I just think he's going to be, and he's already proven it in camp and in the preseason, at least in the first game when he led the team in receiving. So I think he's going to be the number 2. Draft him and don't wait till he's on the waivers.
Beautiful. New York Giants. Oh, what?
I was gonna concur. Verbal retweet on everything Edward just said.
Yeah, everyone likes Traquan. New York Giants, Saquon Barkley is hurt with a hamstring. If he has a handcuff, it looks like it's actually going to be Wayne Gallum and not Jonathan Stewart. So don't waste one of those picks.
Yes. I called it.
Yeah, you did. Eli Manning is still Eli Manning, and I just want to stress that to everybody. So you need to decide who's actually getting targets and who isn't. In my opinion, Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram might have some problems. I think it's going to be Odell and Saquon all day, every day. The Philadelphia Eagles are still really good at football as well. It's all going to be the same. And to me, Corey Clement is someone that you want to get at the end, but I actually do like Jay Ajayi better than I thought I would. Carson Wentz, though, maybe not ready for week 1, everybody. I think I am dropping him quite a bit in my rankings. I just don't see any reason to draft him. Also dropping everyone in the Seattle Seahawks. Except for Doug Baldwin, who dropped drastically in ADP, and now it sounds like he's going to be fine by week 1, everybody. So you all freaked out about the only player that has really proven themselves on the team. Chris Carson should be getting drafted above Rashad Penny. My husband actually printed out the wrong cheat sheet, so that was the other part of the story that we didn't say before. So he actually drafted Rashad Penny too early, and I did not apologize. He printed out a cheat sheet from August 5th. What? Anyway, yeah. So anyway, don't do that. Don't do that. In terms of any other pass catcher, just ignore it. Maybe Nick Vanette, their tight end, could step in there. He is a deep sleeper. And San Francisco, listen, they're going to be okay. Jimmy Garoppolo is playing. It looks like Marquise Goodwin's definitely the favorite target, but Pierre Garçon is that little slot guy. He is going to be sneaky deaky. Alfred Morris, though, is there now. Jerick McKinnon not playing. I think this is really bad for Jerick McKinnon, and Matt Breida is also not playing, although I think that he could be established. But in terms of being a 3-down back, Alfred Morris's best career years were definitely with Kyle Shanahan. I think this was big news. Looks like you want to pipe in on that one.
No, I'm not as concerned with Jerick McKinnon. I think what we're going to end up seeing is we're going to end up seeing the 3 backs. If Breida's healthy and able, I'm fine with McKinnon sitting out right now. Let him sit out. Be healthy for the regular season. We know what you're all about. We know what you can do. Get healthy. Week 1,
which is less than 500 rushing yards.
Well, again, it's all about opportunity. It depends on opportunity. He's never been given that opportunity. So what I think we're going to end up seeing is we're going to see the rotation of backs between McKinnon, Morris, and Breida early on in the season. But I think that McKinnon ends up rising to the top there when Alfred Morris shows that he is older than Charles Clay.
Now, we just barely missed it. Charles Simmons heading to IR. Speaking of the backs, Ronald Jones actually has not been bad, everybody. If you actually watch the tape, the offensive line, though, is terrible. Peyton Barber is supposedly the starter right now. They're probably going to share. This is not a Ronald Jones issue. Actually, I can't remember who actually did a great game tape breakdown of Ronald Jones. It was like, no, actually, he's actually doing a good job. So, but you guys, it's always Mike Evans all day, every day. Chris Godwin, Deshaun Jackson, it doesn't really matter. Interchangeable. Don't let anyone else tell you differently. They'll have good games and bad games, but you don't want to have them inconsistently on your depth chart. Jamison Crowder's back to practice. He's a slot guy. But again, we have no idea who's going to be actual number 1. I actually put that out on Twitter. There's Paul Richardson and Josh Doctson there. Alex Smith is there. But without Darius Guice, it looks a little scary to me. They did bring in Adrian Peterson. Anywhere where you're going to do Adrian Peterson, and we are done with our show because we have not decided yet what we're going to do with him, you guys. It's that new, and we're that upset.
Yeah, I got no comments about that. I have no comments about that. I do have a comment about the spider that was just crawling around in my headset here. That was a little frightening.
Oh.
Right? That's what I get for lying to my wife, telling her I de-spidered the shed.
Yeah. Okay. Someone just said I talked too fast, you guys. That's because I was trying to get through everything. You guys missed that. You guys, we love you. Thank you so much for being here. Go to fantasy.com/Brandon or // Bender. You can do that too. Go get our draft guide. Go get this entire year of NFL coverage. It's amazing what we got going on over there. We have 60% off going right now. Again, it's fantasylive.com/Brandon or Bender. Do you have anything else to add?
I mean, about all that, just so you guys know, rankings were adjusted today. Ultimate cheat sheet will be adjusted again. It was just adjusted this past Sunday. And now it's going to be adjusted again. And I'm just waiting to see what happens with Adrian Peterson and that game right there. So tomorrow night, I'll be making those adjustments, and the new PDF will hopefully be up for you guys first thing Saturday morning. Right, Edward? Ooh. But either way, offensive line piece, updated. Training camp battles, updated. Sleepers, busts, rookies, updated. All right, throw the stupid magazines away. Get the Fantasy Alarm draft guide. Again, fantasyalarm.com/Brandon, Brandon. All right?
Yes.
Use
correct.
the promo code Brandon for the draft guide, which will bring the price down to $16. But when you go to that page, though, you're also going to see the other package deal that we've got, and that is the rest of MLB with all the DFS stuff, the entire NFL season, seasonal and DFS, plus the draft guide with all the videos that Brandon did, with all the articles I wrote, with all the rankings and the updates you could possibly want. $75, and I guarantee you, you will not find a better price or a better package out there anywhere. And I'll drop the mic on that one.
Dropped. Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. Woo! We are so happy to be here every single Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And we are just 2 weeks away from Sundays. Sundays is when things go crazy. And it is all about your questions. We don't even plan anything. We just show up and answer your questions based off of all the research, all the tools that we have all week long over there at fantasyalarm.com. So go check it out. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.